Tonight, invoke the 25th or we'll impeach. That message from Democratic leadership as the fallout from the Capitol riots continues. And unprecedented security measures, why officials are pulling out all the stops to protect the governor in Minnesota. Plus, relieved to reopen. Bars and restaurants welcome customers inside once again in Minnesota.
From CBS3 Duluth, this is the CBS3 News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Matt. Thanks for joining us. The FBI is warning of new threats of armed demonstrations ahead of President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. Democrats, meanwhile, are moving to impeach President Trump again, this time accusing him of inciting an insurrection. Skylar Henry reports from Capitol Hill.
The FBI issued a bulletin telling governors more violence is possible in the days ahead. The Bureau says extremists are threatening to storm courthouses and state capitals if President Trump is removed from office early. On Monday, House Democrats formally introduced a resolution urging Vice President Mike Pence to activate the 25th Amendment.
To declare President Donald J. Trump incapable of executing the duties of his office.
That appears unlikely. On Monday evening, the president and vice president met at the White House for what a senior administration official described as a good conversation.
They were fighting for hours to protect that Capitol.
Stephen Sund resigned last week as the Capitol Police Chief. He told CBS News he repeatedly asked the Pentagon to send National Guard troops.
I needed boots on the ground, immediate assistance right then and there. They were more concerned with the optics.
At least 2 Capitol Police officers have been suspended.
You have a couple of Capitol Police we talked about before with taking selfies, and another Capitol Police evidently put on a MAGA hat.
President-elect Joe Biden says last week's mayhem won't stop him from being inaugurated on the Capitol steps.
I'm not afraid of taking you outside.
Washington has clamped down on security ahead of January 20th. Thousands of National Guard troops have already been deployed to the city, and the Secret Service will take charge of the inaugural venue on Wednesday, a week earlier than planned.
Tonight, President Trump approved Washington, D.C.'s request to declare an emergency in the city. It authorizes federal agencies to assist the city as it responds to the violence at the Capitol building. The House impeachment vote could happen Wednesday. Let's switch gears and head over to Dave for a quick look at the weather. Dave, pretty mild day today, but that might not be how the week progresses.
You know, we finally do see an end in sight to that warm spell, Tony.
Okay.
But it may take until the weekend before it gets here. And we'll talk, of course, later on in the newscast if it's going to be a big Arctic outbreak or just a little bit of a descent in temperatures. First, though, we'll talk about these cloudier and warmer than normal conditions continuing for a couple more days. It should stay mostly cloudy but dry, perhaps through tomorrow and into Wednesday as well. But Thursday may be the day of change, finally. Low pressure system to the west finally threatens to bring us some snow. At this stage of the game, it looks like 2 days worth of light snow, both Thursday and Friday, 1 or 2 inches each day. So persistent, could add up to 2 to 4 inches. And as always, you know, we cover a big area, could go a little bit higher for the higher elevations, things like that. So plan for that later on this week. But let's first take a look at the short-term forecast, which for tonight and Tuesday tells us it'll stay cloudy. It'll stay mild. Tomorrow's high temp will be around 30 degrees. The normal's only 19 or 20. Once we get into the weekend and that chance for snow passes, temperatures will go down. And, of course, in a few minutes, I'll talk about if that's going to be the polar vortex or just something a little gentler.
Thanks, Dave. The Duluth City Council chose their first ever Indigenous person to serve as the governing body's president tonight. In a unanimous vote, councilors chose Renee Van Nett to serve as council president for the next year. She was already the first Native American woman to serve on the council. They also selected Councilor at-large Eric Forsman to serve as the council's vice president. Meanwhile, the FBI is warning all 50 state capitals and Washington, D.C. of plans for armed protests ahead of President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. During a legislative forum today, Minnesota lawmakers sparred over the riot last week at the U.S. Capitol. And as Carolyn Cummings explains, it was enough to prompt unprecedented security measures for the governor's family.
Quit lying.
Tensions ran high during a legislative panel discussion hosted by Forum News Service on Monday. Republican leaders Senator Paul Gazelka and Representative Kurt Doubt both condemned the violence in Washington after an angry pro-Trump mob stormed the Capitol. But they repeatedly hearkened back to the riots in wake of George Floyd's death and reprimanded DFL leaders for not adequately denouncing the violence that unfolded over the summer.
And to me, you can't have it both ways. We've spent how many minutes now talking about this issue in Washington, D.C., when Democrats in this state have turned a blind eye to violence, inciting violence, protesting that is violent right in our own communities.
Democrats were quick to rebuke Republicans in return. Governor Tim Walz called the comparison by the GOP a false equivalency and was so disappointed in the conversation he threatened to leave the forum early. DFL House Speaker Melissa Hortman said her caucus will be investigating the 6 GOP House members who attended a local Storm the Capitol protest in St. Paul last Wednesday and said they should renounce the violent rhetoric or be held accountable.
We're investigating whether there were members of the Minnesota House of Representatives who advocated for, incited, or supported acts of domestic terrorism.
By Monday afternoon, all 59 members of the Minnesota House GOP condemned the violent rhetoric during the St. Paul protest and called for an investigation. Although it didn't turn violent, the rally was so troubling to Minnesota State Patrol, they moved Governor Tim Walz's teenaged son to a safer location.
I take real umbrage with the idea that what happened here at our Capitol on Wednesday was okay, because the result of that in that language of taking the governor and his family prisoner, and there may be casualties, resulted for the first time the State Patrol entering the living quarters and removing my 14-year-old son to a safe location as he's crying looking for his dog, wondering what's going on.
Meanwhile, in Wisconsin, Governor Tony Evers authorized the Wisconsin National Guard to support Capitol Police in Madison should something happen there. And activists in Wisconsin are calling for the firing of Kenosha police officer Rustin Shesky, who a prosecutor decided not to charge in the shooting of Jacob Blake. The group says laws must change before police are truly held accountable for using force against black men. The Kenosha County District Attorney said that he could not disprove Shesky's contention that he feared for his life. Activists say the decision not to charge Shesky further exposes systemic racism within the criminal justice system and increases the urgency for immediate change.
We're here to let the mayor know, let the Kenosha Police and Fire Commission know that Kenosha is not safe with Rustin Shesky continuing to be on the police department. And in addition to long-term reforms, so that we do not have any police officers shooting black men in the back anymore, we need him gone.
The group says they want rules for wearing body cameras and executing no-knock warrants, among other things. Transparency at the hospital. That's the goal of a new law that just took effect, requiring hospitals to disclose how much money a procedure or service costs. CBS 3's John Cardinelli spoke with a leader at Essentia Health to break down what this law means for you.
Hospitals around the country are following a new law.
One that I always hear is you wouldn't drop your car off and have no idea what you were going to pay before you did it.
The law allows patients to see how much a procedure or appointment would cost before having it done. Essentia Health is currently working on getting all costs and information laid out on their website.
The last time I think I checked, we were well into the 600 range with different procedures.
The goal, empowering the patient with knowledge and a useful new way to determine costs.
What we're really most excited about is our guest estimate tool.
The tool allows patients and guests to plug in a procedure and their insurance. In doing so, it generates an estimated cost for the patient.
It will tell you, based on your insurance information, here is what you can expect to pay.
And if medical treatment seems to carry a hefty price, Wilson says to remember about the payment options Essentia offers to its patients.
We just have a lot of options for our patients, and the last thing we want is affordability to get in the way of them getting the care that they need.
Prices shared on Essentia's website are before insurance gets involved. Indoor dining is allowed again in Minnesota. Governor Tim Walz's latest COVID restriction dial back took effect today. Restaurants and bars can only be at 50% capacity, and they must close by 10 p.m. Entertainment venues like bowling alleys, theaters, and museums can also reopen at 25% capacity. And after that 2-month shutdown, Italian restaurant Va Bene opened up its doors for in-person dining at 11 a.m. this morning. Co-owner Luke Schmitz says it's been tough going lately, and they did take advantage of state and federal help, but it wasn't enough, and they are excited for this day.
Our whole staff is super excited about having indoor diners. It'll be nice to see our regular guests again and have people inside. I mean, it's what it's meant to be here for.
The Benet is doing online reservations for their indoor dining. Still to come on Live Local CBS 3, college students will be heading back to the classroom this week. Details on how one local college plans on keeping their students safe.
Record high temp for today is 42 degrees from 1986. Back on that day, I was the janitor here at Channel 3 and probably had a lot of melting snow to shovel on the sidewalks over where the new Maurice's building now stands. Well, I think we could get some fresh snow worth shoveling later on this week. I'll talk about how much coming up after our break.
Live, local, CBS 3 News at 10 with Kristen Vaki, Anthony Matt, Kelly Hinson, and weather with meteorologist Dave Anderson on Live, local, CBS 3.
Welcome to the Kelly Clarkson Show!
It's the season for streaming and the perfect time to power up all your devices with Extreme Internet. Call today and save with prices as low as $19.99 a month for 1 year. Go dashing through your shows with amazing speeds from 60 meg up to 1 gig. Powerful in-home Wi-Fi and 99.99% network reliability. Enjoy the gift of high-speed entertainment for as low as $19.99 a month for 1 year. Dial 844-EXTREME2.
Still hard to find a spot, just easier to park. Still the big move, just more moving. Still singing, just more in tune. Still the gang's all here, just less are we there yet. The Chevy family of SUVs, making life's journey just better.
Get a $5,500 cash allowance on most 2020 Equinox models. Plus, current Chevy owners with an eligible GM credit card get an additional $1,750 total allowance. Visit TrueNorthChevyDealers.com.
The Cetus Fogger disinfectant machine sanitizes and restricts the growth of bacteria and viruses. Our disinfectant machines are needed wherever infection can be spread, such as hospitals, public spaces, schools, and nursing homes. The R model is stationary, ideal for the home, office, and classroom, while the C model is movable and ideal for commercial and industrial settings. Our disinfectant machine also controls mold, pests, and odors, ideal for the food and agriculture industries. Visit www.cetusonline.com. That is CETUSonline.com.
Everything that happens on a day-to-day basis in terms of news, no matter what happens in news, weather is always constant, weather is always changing as well. So it's still an important role as the meteorologist to kind of still stay grounded and to kind of just know that role and what to take and kind of just make sure you're delivering what's the most important for your viewers. But then also I like to touch base on the national things. All of those news stories also tie in with weather stories because they do go kind of hand in hand.
Watch Jenna and Caitlin in the morning at 5 and 6 a.m.
Welcome to the Kelly Clarkson Show!
I can't even hug her. I'm touching people. I'm touching you. I'm touching you.
This show is about connection. And not even 2020 and socially distancing ourselves if they're going to get in the way of that.
Are we 6 feet apart?
Let's just check it out.
The major key is to make sure they watch the Kelly Clarkson Show.
When severe weather hits, tune to CBS 3 for up-to-date coverage morning and night. Now, the CBS 3 Duluth Weather Max forecast with meteorologist Dave Anderson.
All right, we've had some warmer than normal conditions for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, and that leads to this little bug here, a winter crane fly that John Dahlman spotted on the snowbank over towards the Floodwood area. Well, those tend to pop out when the temperatures are warmer in the wintertime. Otherwise, there's allegedly billions of those things underneath the snow. But when they get to the top, it's a sign of a warm-up. Well, that little bug better fly away home because a cool down is coming, though it may take almost a week to get here. We'll talk about its timeline, how low the temps will go, and how much snow we'll get in between coming up in just a bit. But here's a live look at Ashland, where it looks very peaceful and beautiful out there with, of course, ice on the bay and a thin coating of snow upon that as well. A little more snow could be coming, like I mentioned here, come Thursday and Friday. Coming around right now, we have 29 degrees at Duluth International Airport, 82% for the relative humidity. Northwest winds going 7 miles per hour. And our air pressure has clicked upwards 1 millibar since we last chatted, now 1,015. Not really high and not really low, and so that netherworld continues of a cloudier sky, but precious little snow. Current temps upper 20s in the Upper Peninsula. We're looking at lower 30s in northwestern Wisconsin, and the current numbers in Minnesota are going from 25 up the Gunflint to as warm as 32 degrees down around Moose Lake. Low temps tonight likely will be falling into the teens inland and low 20s possible by the lake, the way it's rolled for almost 2 weeks. And that cloudier sky that's been rolling upon us is doing the same trick again here tonight. Smaller trough of low pressure is working through the area right now. That's what's keeping the clouds up tonight through Tuesday and into Wednesday. And you know, Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons, we may get a couple of holes punched into the cloud deck here. We'll call it partly sunny. Cloudy at night, partly sunny during the day. The snow chance is this low pressure system coming in from the west. That'll bring us a 50-60% chance for snow Thursday and Friday. Latest charts right now indicate spread over those 2 days, 2 to 4 inches. But as always, things can change on the turn of a dime or the stop of a dime. So we'll, of course, monitor the situation as we continue to get closer to the end of the week. And then once we get into the weekend, temperatures will go down like often happens behind a departing low pressure system. We'll talk in a bit how cool that means. Tonight, though, low temps in Minnesota go 16 to 22. And it'll be 17 to 19 in Wisconsin and Michigan. And we all get a mostly cloudy sky above with patchy fog at the surface. Tomorrow, Wisconsin, Michigan, low 30s for highs, warmer than normal again. Partial sunshine possible in the afternoon, and for Minnesota as well, with high temps pretty close to 30 degrees, which of course is warmer than normal, and it stays warmer than normal through the snowfall Thursday and Friday. Then temperatures go back down to normal Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, which is around 19 degrees for a high, and an overnight low in the single digits above zero. Okay. So we're not getting the polar vortex or the Arctic oscillation. It'll cool down back to normal rather than getting bitterly cold. And of course, no matter what type of weather we get around here, that's good news for some and bad news for others.
That is the way it goes around here, those little peaks and valleys. I can't believe we're seeing 35 degrees in the forecast in the middle of January in northeastern Minnesota.
Well, you know, we do tend to get a January thaw every year, but usually mid to late month rather than early.
Right. Well, it'll be nice. Thanks, Dave. Students at Duluth's largest university are returning to class this week. While some will learn in person and others online, University of Minnesota Duluth officials say they're prepared to keep all students and staff healthy. CBS3's Emma Quinn spoke with campus officials and students to learn more about the plans.
UMD students will start hitting the books for their spring semester on Wednesday, and it'll look very similar to the fall.
We'll have some face-to-face instruction. We will have some what we're calling blended instruction, which is a combination of face-to-face and online.
UMD's online courses will be split into two categories. Either the class is largely self-taught or has immediate feedback from professors. Sophomore Luke Frisco agrees the fall semester went well, but it has been hard learning online.
There's not that sort of in-person connection or anything. So even if it is like a class that you really enjoy, there's just not the sort of personal connection with either your professors or your classmates.
UMD officials say 53% of students have at least one face-to-face class, something Frisco is looking forward to.
Even just being on campus for whether it's dropping off a library book or going to work or something, even just being in presence of campus gives a sense of normalcy.
UMD officials say they are continuing to follow CDC, state, and local health guidelines in order to limit the spread of COVID-19 on campus. So far, the school saw 600 COVID-19 cases between students, faculty, and staff.
And that 600 number is not a bad number if you consider the fact that we have a university of community of about 12,000.
The campus has made changes to its spring break. Students will have 2 days off in March with 3 days off before final exams.
UMD updates its COVID-19 plan daily. More information can be found on our website, cbs3duluth.com. Meanwhile, some Superior students returned to the classroom today. After going fully remote in November, the district is back to hybrid learning. Those who chose virtual learning will continue to do so. The district is prioritizing in-person learning for elementary schools. That means if too many staff members get infected, the middle and high schools will return to full-time virtual learning before younger students would. Still to come on Live Local CBS 3 with the governor loosening COVID-19 restrictions on restaurants. Many are hoping to bounce back. However, one new restaurant is looking to make a strong start. Details next.
CBS 3 live cams are brought to you by Kohler Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac. You're not just getting a car, you're getting Kohler.
Why wait for that tax refund or stimulus check to buy new furniture, appliances, or TV when you can buy those things today at EasyOwn with a low down payment and affordable monthly payment? If you're expecting a tax refund or stimulus check, then this is the perfect time to take advantage of EasyOwn's no interest or super low interest programs. So if you want to buy new furniture, appliances, TV, computer, or game system, come into EasyOwn today. Get the things you want with payments you can afford at EasyOwn.
New Duluth Auto is the Duluth used car dealer. We have plenty of makes and models to choose from. Nissan, Honda, Toyota, and we even carry multiple options for our most popular vehicle, the Subaru Forester. Large cargo space, all-wheel drive, what's not to love? All of our vehicles are priced under $20,000. To make these deals even sweeter, there is a 1 to 5 year warranty included on all vehicles. Give us a call, stop by, or view our inventory online at newduluthauto.net. Because here at New Duluth Auto, we are your Duluth used car dealer.
Local news and local weather here on CBS 3.
Always ready, always there. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Mariah Haberman here from Discover Wisconsin. Join me and the rest of the crew every week on this station for all things Wisconsin. Continue the adventure on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and discoverwisconsin.com. Plus, subscribe to the Cabin Podcast, available wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Arctic Cat snowmobile sale happening now at RJ Sport and Cycle.
When you watch CBS 3,
we have local elected officials inside.
You receive detailed and up-to-date information. You heard local reaction.
To do something for the people.
For news that matters most to you. Continue watching live, local, CBS.
Welcome to the Kelly Clarkson Show!
With many restaurants struggling as the pandemic continues, a new one with a unique twist is coming to Duluth. Hotbox Duluth plans to open downtown later this month. They'll offer to-go food themed as kids' meals for grown-ups. Think kind of like cheesy hash browns, deep-fried pickle roll-ups, and Swedish meatballs. Those all sound pretty good. It will all be served out of Zeitgeist Kitchen, which has been for rent since Zeitgeist temporarily closed last year. The owner says this is the perfect way to test the waters.
I know so many restaurants and so many other business owners are having such a hard time, and it's weird to like start something during this, but it just worked out so perfect for me. And it's like, I've been waiting for this opportunity for 15, 20 years now, so I'm just going to go for it.
Hotbox hopes to be open by the end of the month, operating on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Still ahead in sports, Wisconsin basketball highlights coming up.
For coverage that matters most to you, tune to CBS 3.
I'm Steve Scooby. I'm one of the general surgeons at St. Luke's. I love being a surgeon, and I take my job very seriously, but it's always nice to go home and spend time with my children and focus on having a balance between being at work and spending time with my family. Like most surgeons, I really enjoy being in the operating room. However, I think the best part of my job is being in clinic and seeing patients come back to me fixed and feeling better. knowing that they're doing well after surgery is really satisfying to me.
Everything that happens on a day-to-day basis in terms of news, no matter what happens in news, weather is always constant, weather is always changing as well. So it's still an important role as the meteorologist to kind of still stay grounded and to kind of just know that role and what to take and kind of just make sure you're delivering what's the most important for your viewers. But then also I like to touch base on the national things. All of those news stories also tie in with weather stories because they do go kind of hand in hand.
Watch Jenna and Caitlin in the morning at 5 and 6 a.m.
Heart attacks and strokes happen, even in the midst of COVID-19, and at least one will occur while you're watching this. Heart attacks and strokes are medical emergencies. If you experience symptoms of a heart attack or stroke, do not delay seeking care. Call 911 immediately. Hospitals are prepared and can safely treat you. Visit cdc.gov/coronavirus to learn more.
This year has been just a huge year. We've had everything going on with the pandemic. It's hard to not have your heart go out to those people, the millions that have been impacted by that. That's why we do what we do, to try and keep people in the know. What's going on with this? When is it going to end? When's the vaccine going to be here? How is this impacting you? Where are resources to help you get through the pandemic and keep you and your family safe through all of this?
For coverage that matters most to you, tune to Live Local CBS3. When you watch CBS3,
Stop the steal.
you receive detailed and up-to-date information. You heard local reaction.
To do something for the people.
We have local elected officials inside the Capitol.
Elect after a wild day in Washington.
Democracy is fragile.
The protests and riots taking place at the United States Capitol as
For news that matters most to you, continue watching Live Local CBS3. Now, CBS3 Sports with Kelly Hinson.
Two Northwest Wisconsin schools, separated by just 21 miles, met on the hardwood tonight for the first time in over 30 years. Superior hosting Northwestern. That's way older than me, and Tony might not even been born yet. For the first, this one did not disappoint. Right? You're like 27. Well down low to Lars Olsen with the quick spin move. Kissed off the glass for the Spartan bucket. More Spartans. Johnny Rhodes just too powerful for his opponent, getting the tough 2 points to go. Tigers hanging around, though. Great play off the bound. Ends up in the hands of Cole Lottie, who buries the corner three. In and out offense for Northwestern. Three-pointer, no good, but Jace Nelson would be there for the tip-in rebound. Tigers would keep pressure late in this one as well. It's Lottie again with the pretty one, right-handed floater. Spartans keep this one close. It's Olsen showing off the speed to finish the left-handed layup. Superior hits a game-winning bucket with 3 seconds left to beat Northwestern 80-79 in overtime. And another day, another blow for sports in the Northland and COVID-19. The UMD women's basketball series set for this weekend at the University of Mary has been canceled due to COVID-19 protocols. Due to previous exposure and testing protocols within the UMD women's basketball program, the Bulldogs will not travel to Mary for this weekend's series. And per the conference's scheduling guidelines for the series will not be rescheduled. Well, 25 points a game, 60% from the field, 8 rebounds. The numbers speak for themselves, and they've earned Brooke Olsen NSIC Player of the Week. So it's a real bummer that they're being stopped in their tracks right now. Olsen was a force to be reckoned with on both ends of the court over the weekend, helping the Bulldogs sweep Minot State at Romano Gym. In addition to her 24.5 points per game, the junior shot 90% from the free throw line, 54% from the arc, while adding 2 blocks on the defensive side of the ball. Olsen currently leads the conference in scoring, averaging a league-high 21 points a game. Olsen also comes in at 3rd in the NSIC in field goal percentage and 5th in the conference in free throw percentage. The Bulldogs will not take on UMary again this weekend on the road. It was certainly a weekend to forget for the UMD men's hockey team. For the first time since the 2017-2018 season, the team loses 3 games in a row, and to their former assistant and coach Brad Larson. St. Cloud moves up a spot to number 5 in the latest USCHO poll after sweeping UMD over the weekend 4-3 thanks to 2 late goals on Friday night and an overtime win on Saturday. The biggest point of concern for UMD this weekend was the lack of production on the power play unit. UMD went 0 for 6 with the man advantage. UMD falls to 6-5-2 on the season and to number 7 in the latest USCHO poll.
I told our guys, you go through adversity, you got to fight through it. You know what? We have a good group. We got to just they got to have a good week and get some of that swagger and confidence back.
And don't panic is basically what head coach Scott Sandelin is saying. UMD looks to snap the streak this Friday when they take on Miami of Ohio. The unranked Mavericks are 4-8-2 on the season. Friday's game will be on the My9 Sports Network at 6 p.m. Saturday's game will be broadcast on the CBS Sports Network. And on the women's side, despite not playing over the weekend, the Bulldogs stay put at number 6 this week in the USCHO poll. Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Ohio State are 1 through 3 respectively. UMD and Ohio State kick things off with a weekend series at Amsoil starting this Friday. Puck drop is set for 6:07. And that's going to do it for sports tonight. We'll be right back after the break.
Change the future of medicine from the convenience of home. Join the All of Us research program to help improve health research and speed up medical breakthroughs. Visit essentialhealth.org/allofus to learn more.
With locations throughout the Northland and northern Wisconsin, Super One Liquor has you covered for all of your party and gathering needs. We have a commitment to deliver outstanding service, variety, and top quality wines and spirits. And don't forget the best variety of ice-cold beer and beverages, all at the low prices you've come to expect. Super One Liquor. Come for the service, leave with the savings.
Heart attacks and strokes happen, even in the midst of COVID-19. And at least one will occur while you're watching this. Heart attacks and strokes are medical emergencies. If you experience symptoms of a heart attack or stroke, do not delay seeking care. Call 911 immediately. Hospitals are prepared and can safely treat you. Visit cdc.gov/coronavirus to learn more.
Always ready, always there. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Mining. It's a part of Minnesota's history that affects everyone in the Northland still to this day. From environmental issues to economics and so much more. Join me, Kristen Baki, every Tuesday for Eye on Mining. A fair and unbiased report that answers the tough questions surrounding the world of mining.
Eye on Mining with Kristen Baki. Tuesdays at 10 only on live local CBS3. Brought to you by Iron Mining Association.
Heart attacks and strokes happen, even in the midst of COVID-19. And at least one will occur while you're watching this. Heart attacks and strokes are medical emergencies. If you experience symptoms of a heart attack or stroke, do not delay seeking care. Call 911 immediately. Hospitals are prepared and can safely treat you. Visit cdc.gov/coronavirus to learn more.
Men's wardrobe provided by Mainstream Fashions for Men, celebrating 30 years in business in 2021 with 30% off store-wide, downtown Duluth.
A 47-year-old diver's recent record-breaking feat is so astounding it has to be seen to be believed. A Danish free diver made history off the coast of Mexico when he successfully swam 202 meters underwater on, get this, just one single breath. That equates to 662 feet, or the length of nearly 2 football fields. And if your mind isn't sufficiently blown just yet, get this, his single breath dive took 20 minutes to complete before he surfaced to celebrate. However, the longest he's ever held his breath is 22 minutes. Dave, I think I could last, I don't know, maybe like a minute before I'd have to take a breath. That is impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do that.
My high school swim team could go about 20 yards on a single breath.
Yeah.
But not 200, that's for sure. Let's talk about what's going on here in a single week. We start warm and cloudy. In the middle part of the week, we get our next chance of snow. A couple of inches possible Thursday and Friday. Then it cools back to normal Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a great rest of your night.